Good evening, everyone. I, Renu Chawla, Project Assistant, welcome you all on behalf of ANON Global Foundation for the final presentation session for the 3 weeks internship program offered by ANON. I am sure all interns must have had their best of efforts in this 15 days training program and has an extraordinary experience while working on their topics. I welcome our jury members, Major Dr. Mita Singh. Dr. Mita Singh has been working towards the upliftment of the girl child in Rajasthan for 18 years with at least 3 out of 33 districts showing improvement. She has also worked on several issues combating violence against women, legal literacy, health and health policies. Dr. Singh serves on various committees of NGOs and the government, including the committee to update and revise the Rajasthan state policy for women. She has been honored with several awards, including the Outstanding Woman Award by the National Commission for Women, Government of India. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I would also love to introduce Dr. Namita Sharma. She is a dynamic administrator and head of school with over 24 years of teaching and 14 years of administrative experience in senior secondary schools of high repute of New Delhi and Haryana. She has been one of the CBSE Inspection Committee members for Accord of Affiliation and performed the responsibility as Center Superintendent. I thank both the jury members for their valuable time. We have Team Hakuna Matata with us who will be sharing their ideas on the topic Negative Core Beliefs, a Mental Setback. The team is mentored by Ms. Ridhi Luthra. We have Shrishti from Bihar and Ananya from Delhi. Now I request the team to please come forward and kindly start the presentation.
Thank you, Renu ma'am. Good evening, everybody. Can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Your reality is a reflection of your strongest belief. Good evening, respected jury and everyone present here. Today, Team Hakuna Matata, me, Riddhi, my interns Srishti and Anya, would like to give a presentation on negative core beliefs, a mental setback.
Good evening to all.
Over to you, Anya.
First of all, I, on behalf of my fellow teammates, would like to take this as an opportunity to express our utmost gratitude towards the entire team of ANON Global Foundation and YWCA India, along with our respected jury members, for bestowing upon us this golden opportunity where we could explore the concept of such an important life skill as that of co-beliefs. And in the process, we inculcated several values along with developing certain skills. So once again, thank you. Moving forward, um, um, this is an overview as to what all you can expect from the presentation ahead. There'll be a brief discussion about the survey, followed by an introduction of what are co-beliefs and the distinction between negative co-beliefs and positive co-beliefs. Then we'll understand how we can identify the co-beliefs and how we can overcome these negative co-beliefs via happy thoughts therapies and self therapies. And before concluding, we'll also have a brief discussion about the pandemic and its role in the mental setback. Moving on, for the purpose of this project, we have used the tool, a survey questionnaire, in which we recorded responses via an online portal of Google Forms, and it was shared to family members, peers, and acquaintances. We received a total of 132 responses within a span of just 2 days, which was an overwhelming response, and we display our gratitude towards all the respondents. As is visible on the screen, in terms of gender, the majority of the respondents were females, approximately 85 amongst 132 of them were females, and the remaining approximately 45 of them were males. In terms of education qualification, the respondents belonged to an educational background ranging from high schoolers to those who have attained their master's degree, although the majority of them belong to the graduate sectional society. In terms of age category, the majority of the responses were recorded from people belonging to age group of 15 to 30 years, that is 60% of them, followed by 23% and 17% of them, rest of them belonging to age group of 31 to 45 years and 46 to 60 years respectively. Um, Now I hand over the presentation to Srishti. Please could continue.
Thank you, Ananya. To begin with, first we will have to understand that what is core belief. Core beliefs are the beliefs that we have about ourselves, the people around us, and the world where we live in. These are usually developed from our childhood. These are rooted in our subconscious mind. These are compounded by our life experiences, situations, relationships, etc. Now, going to the next slide, beliefs are built upon old memories of pain and pleasure. These are built upon emotional attachments. These are guided by how we feel about ourselves, about others, about our goals. Now, moving on to the next slide. With our experiences, we can categorize these beliefs into two parts. First one is positive core belief, and second one is the negative core belief. For an example, mistakes are part of learning. It can be taken as in a positive way. Mistakes are bad. It can be taken in a negative way. Moving on to the next slide. Beliefs that are good promote your potential and celebrate your unique special qualities. These are also be called as a positive core belief. Whereas self-limiting core beliefs could be when you feel like you are unloved, you are unworthy, and when you think people should always do the right thing and should be blamed or punished when they are not. These are the thoughts that goes in our mind and becomes a negative core belief. Over to you, Ridhima.
Thank you, Srishti. Now, let's have a look at the core belief of our respondents. Where the majority of them feel that they can do no wrong, the rest of them feel weak, unloved, unimportant, and etc. Out of which only 20% are aware of any unhopeful experience during their teenage or adulthood, resulting in negative core beliefs that they are feeling. So now that our respondents are aware of their negative beliefs, they generally end up blaming themselves for any unhealthy experiences in their relationships, which in turn makes them less confident to take any decisions. Thus, they rely on others for the same. Let's understand this through a movie.
Well, Mr. X, I give you the responsibility of organizing this conference.
Serious? I cannot organize this meeting. I lack organizing skills. I won't be able to manage others into working. When they'll come to the conference, they'll see how incapable I am. I'm such a failure.
Therefore, it is important to replace those thoughts of worry with thoughts of hope, faith, and victory.
Maybe I should just quit and go back to making noodles. Look, kid, bad things happen, and you can't do anything about it, right?
Right.
Wrong! When the world turns its back on you, you turn your back on them.
When life gets you down, you know what you gotta do? You know what you gotta do. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
You gotta put your past behind you.
But it still hurts. Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. But today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story. So, who are you?
Right, as they say, who are you? We are not responsible for our first thoughts, but we are responsible for how long we focus on them, act on them, or do nothing about it. It is our choice. We want to go to the positive side or the negative side. So, whenever these questions come to your these things come to your mind, that I cannot do this, or here is a list of what I have done to claim some love. It's time to do some brainwashing. And to do that, we need to first identify our beliefs. But how can we do that? Ananya, can you help us understand how we can identify our beliefs?
Yes, of course. Even when we visit a doctor, we tell them our symptoms in order to get cure. Similarly, over here also we need to identify what is the problem, and in order to identify, we can use techniques such as that of laddering technique. What we do in laddering technique is we react upon an automatic thought. Now, what is an automatic thought? Automatic thought is some sensation or a thought that pops up in your head involuntary in any circumstances in whatever you're doing. So in such cases, you take the automatic thought and you start questioning what next. You question it till the time you have arrived at the very core of it, and you are able to understand what is the actual core belief. For example, even in this case, if your automatic thought is no one cares about me, now what does that mean about me? I don't matter. I will be rejected. I'm unwanted and whatnot. Now, what does that mean about me? It means I'm alone, I don't fit anywhere, and so on. So here we can conclude that the negative core belief here is that I am worthless. Now that we have identified this, moving on to the next technique that we can use is that of maintaining a journal. As for maintaining a journal, it can guide you through your emotions and see what is under your control and what is not. What possibly could have triggered your core beliefs into turning negative. It can also make you ponder on what all alternative beliefs you can opt. So, in short, first technique that you could use is a ladder technique, and the other technique is of maintaining a journal. Next on, now there are so simple ways that you can just identify them without even going through the laddering technique or maintaining a journal. That is by simply questioning yourself. Now, what all questions you could pose? The question you can pose to yourself is that when did I starting having such negative beliefs? What led up to them? How have I maintained them over time? When did it start feeling like normal thoughts? As in, when did they overtake my sensibility of distinguishing? And likewise, you can find several other sorts of questions on your screen. Next ahead, we have next ahead the slide explains how deeply these negative core beliefs can get established into our system. These beliefs sort of starts affecting our words, and these words start affecting our actions. These actions start becoming our habits, and these habits become our values, and these values ultimately affect our destiny.
But
So
wait a
this
minute.
is how impactful negative core beliefs are. Handing over to you, Riddhi ma'am.
How do we know whether they are true or not?
Yeah. Do you know people used to that world was uh, believe that world was flat. Not everything you accept as fact is actually true. So we need to question ourselves, is it true? Is it absolutely true? How does this thought make me feel? What would things be like if I didn't hold this belief? These questions will help us to differentiate between rational and irrational belief. Now, moving on to the next slide. Now, all these makes us fall in the thinking trap. All or nothing. For an example, if it's not perfect, it's a failure. Then, after this thought, we used to predict the things. I know I'll mess it up. Then we assume things. I know he or she doesn't like me. I can see it in their eyes. And we overgeneralize the things like for an example, I always make mistakes. I cannot do this thing. And at last, we label ourselves. We label ourselves as I'm not good enough for anything. I cannot do this. Over to you, Riddhi ma'am.
Thank you, Srishti. So, the mindsets are mainly of two types: growth and fix. Let's understand with this with the help of an example. A student receives a poor grade in an assignment. Now, a student can think in two ways. If his mindset is fixed, then he will think that I'm stupid. I shouldn't even bother trying again because it has been stuck over there. The efforts decrease and overall the academic performance diminishes. Whereas a student who has a growing mindset will say, I haven't mastered it this yet. I need to work harder or try a new approach. Now the efforts are increasing. The positive learning strategies are improving. This in turn increases the academic performance. Now, to understand our respondents again about we have talked about the automatic thoughts earlier. Now, let's see how the respondents respond to it. It's not surprising that the majority of them actually think thoughts that they aren't aware of. So, out of the 60 to 80,000 thoughts they get in a day, how many of us actually know which are relevant and which are not? To add on to this, the present thoughts and behaviors are very well affected by our past experiences, as explained in this survey. Over to you, Ananya.
Now, another sorts of questions that we included in our questionnaire was that our personality is shaped by our beliefs. Do you agree with this statement? Well, the purpose of this question was to identify or to know how self aware people are, whether or not they're able to identify that they're deviating from the path of leading a peaceful and a happy life, whether or not they think that something is different about their core beliefs and how healthy are they. To which majority responded that they do agree, while the least response was in terms of they disagree with statement. Now the next question was, how do you respond to criticism? We know that criticism plays a very vital role in our life. The idea behind this question was to see what degree of impact do people let criticism have on them, whether they let it get the best of them and hence start self-loathing and self-questioning themselves, or do they see it as a sign of growth. Next, ahead, as you can clearly see in the screen, you can find all the statistics over there. Followed by the next questions that we included were, how do you react to accepting new challenges in any field of life? Well, this was to identify how skeptical people are towards changes in their life, because again, changes and challenges both display how confident you are, how strong your core belief system is, whether it shakes upon being faced upon facing any new incidents in your life or not. So, to which majority responded that yes, they are very excited and curious to learn and seek challenges in a positive way, which is again a positive sign towards the society and towards themselves as well. Next question that we had was that how do you possibly react to any mistakes made by you? Well, this was to see whether people selves put themselves through a scrutiny, or do they consider committing a mistake as a normal act of human being. So to which majority of them responded that it is okay to make mistake, which is again a positive sign towards society. Handing on to you, Shrishti.
Thank you, Ananya. We had another question. If a good friend you see on the street passes by without waving or looking at you, how do you feel? Majority was with majority was with there must be something on their mind, and while others was with they must have done something wrong. They can't be trusted. Uh, they have to make others happy. They are not good as others, and um, some have their own reasons. Now, moving on to the next slide. Now, the another question we have: how do you motivate yourself against any unpleasant things? Majorities takes an majority had taken it in a positive way, like they stay unaffected and positive, share it with the loved ones and spend time on your hobbies. And it is very good to spend time on your hobbies, while others were with practice forgiveness and others. We can always let go of the baggage of past mistakes, stress, worry, anger, grudges, and toxic relationships. Now the another question we have: how much time do you take to rebound from any such incident? Majority are with days, like 32% are with days, while 7%, 19%, and 16% are with weeks, months, and years, and others are with, and 23% are with others. Now it's time to shed your negative thought. Otherwise, carrying your negative thought can affect in a negative way. Over to you, Ananya.
As a part of our project, we conducted a little rice experiment with the help of our volunteer. The theme of this experiment was centered around the idea that we took two sets of containers with rice filled in them. One was taken care of with tender and care, and showered with affectionate words like this.
To eat and look you. You're the loveliest rice.
Well, as for the other one, we unleashed all our anger onto it and bad mouthed about it like this.
Hate you, rice. You're not yummy or lovest because you are very bad. I hate you, rice.
As a result, over a matter of days, the one which was bestowed with the affectionate words still remained fresh, whereas the other one had a foul smell to it. So the learning that we received from this experiment is that how much of an impact, direful impact, our words can have on others, and vice versa, what all consequences others' words can have on us. It basically reflects how words shape our core beliefs, be it positive or negative.
So, isn't it time we processed, shifted, and reprogrammed our limiting beliefs? Hakuna Matata.
Tata.
Happy thought therapies are here to help. Over to you, Sachin.
Yeah. To begin with, we have our first therapy. In this therapy, our thoughts become our behavior becomes our feelings. Similar to what Ananya has explained in the previous techniques, that first we have to identify the belief, then we have to question ourselves more times, then we have to reverse that belief. But this therapy comes under the medical guidance. Moving on to the next slide. Instead of saying, I feel so bad, I shouldn't feel like this. What's wrong with me? I'm useless. We should try, I am noticing I feel low and heavy. That's okay. Depression wants me to believe I am worthless, but I know I'm not. Do small actions like go for a walk, do up some dishes, brush your hair, etc. It can be some achievement and can increase the self confidence in it. It's okay to make mistakes, to have bad days, uh, to be less than perfect, to do what's best for you, and at last, to be yourself. Moving on to the next slide. Now we have our another therapy, that is ABC model therapy. First, we have to activate an event, then we have to believe it, and then we have to find the consequences. For an example, I didn't get selected for choir. Here, belief would be I have a terrible voice. So, what are my consequences then? It will be I'll feel sad, I'll give up on practicing. We have to stop our negative belief then and there and convert it into positive. Over to you, Riddhi ma'am.
Thank you, Srishti. Now, the third therapy which I would like to explain is the acceptance and commitment therapy. Let's understand this with the help of an example. There is a situation where a boy is queuing up for a roller coaster ride. The thought that comes to his mind is, I cannot do this. Imagine myself falling out. Emotions, I'm afraid. The stomach starts churning. The reaction is that he leaves the queue and feels relieved. Now, to understand this, we need to follow the ACT therapy. The first says the present. It can be understood as the practice of being aware of the present moment without judging the experience. The values, these are the qualities we choose to work with We hold our values consciously or unconsciously. So these in turn help us live our lives in a more disciplined manner. Committed actions. These assist in their long term goals and help live life more consistently. Self as context. An individual is not simply the sum of experiences, their experiences and thoughts at that moment. There is a self outside we should be always be proud of. Diffusion. This refers to the techniques intended to change how an individual reacts to their thoughts and feelings. It is important to face our negative beliefs and come out of the other side with a decreased fixation on these experiences. Lastly, acceptance. The root to many negative emotions is non acceptance. Therefore, it is the active choice to allow unpleasant experiences to exit without denial or changes. Thus, coming back to the situation, the boy's decision to leave the queue must have disappointed him for a while his peers, his friends were still continued to enjoy the ride. But this saved him from creating any further negative beliefs. What if he would have fallen down? What if he would have been so scared that his friends laughed at him? He stood by his values and accepted his fare of not enjoying the ride. Therefore, it is okay to accept. Over to you, Ananya.
Now that we have talked about how therapists can help us overcome negative core beliefs, let us talk about how we ourselves can help ourselves in overcoming these negative core beliefs. For this, I've come up with an acronym that is BADASS. Now, a BADASS therapy, what does this acronym stands for? B stands for the body language, A for the affirmations, D for the dialects, A for the aspirations, S for sweat, and S for serenity. Now, let's talk about it in a bit detail. Body language. Physical empowerment is equally important as mental empowerment. Thus comes the role of body language. And with body language comes the role of power posing. Now, what is power posing? Power posing is opening your body to engender confidence. Thus, it not only communicates and reflects confidence to others, but you within yourself also start feeling a spark of confidence that is ignited within you. Thus, we can say that it's almost like fake it till you make it. You can simply practice it by standing in front of the mirror and power posing like that of a Superman or a Wonder Woman, or by simply even standing with an erect posture can make a lot of difference. Next up, we have affirmations. Now, affirmations are small behavior changes that can deeply impact our thought processes. Now, let's take an example. Let's make a list of all the qualities that we think that we already possess or those we want to imbibe in ourselves. Now, this is a simple and speak it out aloud on a regular basis. Now, this is a simple technique of tricking our brain into believing and manifesting that yes, affirmations can make a lot of difference. That is, yes, I am smart, I am happy, I am loved, I am confident, and I am beautiful. So it's almost like they become a part of your core belief system as if they were from the very beginning of your birth. Next up, we have dialectical thinking. Often we resolute into believing only one set of emotions when we can hold on to multiple of them. For example, if I'm not strong, then I'm most probably weak. We are human beings. We have multiple layers of emotions. And often by just choosing onto one, we let others go unexperienced. This way, so dialectical thinking is one way of accepting all versions of yourself. That is, I am weak, but yet I am strong. I am weak, yet I am strong. And similarly, that I can be upset, yet I can be happy. Though those two emotions can coexist, just as sun and moon can coexist in the sense of nature. Thus, these simple changes in language can have a very deep impact on you. They can allow you to grow and they can allow you to change. So accept all versions of yourself. Next up, we have aspirations. One thing is we should never do is give up on the prize. We should always have our eye on the prize. That's what is a common phrase, right? Aspirations. We always aspire to be that version of ourselves that we've always dreamt of, the ideal version of ourselves. So we should always try and keep certain goals, achievable goals and aspirations. as they provide us with a sense of motivation, with a sense of hope, and with a sense of strength to keep pushing forward. And this is what will help us overcome negative core beliefs. With this, I would also like to address something that it is very important to even celebrate your small victories, because ultimately it is these small steps that will help you reach your ultimate goal. Next up, we have sweat. Sweat it out is all I can say, because changing your core belief is not something that can be done over a matter of minutes or over a matter of days. It is something that will take time, it is something that will take endurance, it is something that will take your patience, and it is something that you constantly have to maintain on a regular basis. So sweat it out, put yourself all into changing this core belief, because it is something not that you could just overcome in a matter of days. It will take time, so have confidence in it. Next up, we have serenity. This is a stage now where we have reached a sense of mindfulness, when the need of the hour is mindfulness, to achieve a sense of calm composure, when it's almost like detoxing all the negative emotions out of your body. This can be done by practicing yoga. This will help you draw a line as to when to speak and when to take action, when and how to let others, and to what degree do you have to let words of others affect you. This will help you achieve that, and this is one of the important functions of overcoming negative core beliefs. On to you, Shrishti.
Yeah. Now we all have understood all the therapies. We all have to weave the web of well being, which includes positive beliefs by expressing gratitude, by doing acts of kindness, by maintaining healthy body and mind, by identifying our own strengths, understanding them, by empowering our beliefs, self acceptance, growth mindset, by maintaining positive relationships, by actively listening to others, respect others, by forgiving others. Moving on to the next slide. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah. The magic of believing is what you believe is true. You have to feed your mind with hope, with truth, and with love. All you have to do is first you create your belief, but then your beliefs will create you. Moving on to the next slide. So, our final question in the survey was, do you agree with the statement, to change your life, uh, you must first change your mindset? The majority strongly agreed with us. As we understood that our life is dependent on our mindset, and you be the change that you want to be that you want to see the world. Over to you, Ananya.
How can we not talk about the history that we witnessed last year in 2020? Yes, we experienced a never anticipated before a nationwide lockdown. It had both kind of impacts, positive and negative. Negative being it led to economic recession, it led to unemployment, people ran out of their saving, and most important of all, it led to a mental setback. Many people face anxiety, many people face depression. And the positive aspect of it being that the mother nature healed itself, which was indeed a miracle. Along with that, we could also say that we bonded with our family, the much needed time. Now, how has the pandemic affected those suffering from or who tend to have negative core beliefs? Well, the negative aspects of it being that people with negative core beliefs have a symptom of catastrophizing situation. So this situation of pandemic only fueled on to that. It led people into believing that it was all their fault, and they started assuming the worst of every situation. Also, with the pandemic, we all switched to an online portal of learning and working, so which left people on the spot to explore and to evolve, and that almost led to people again getting kicked in with negative core beliefs. However, the positive aspect of it being that people started since all the hassles of daily life came to an almost stop, people could spare time to work on their habit, to align with their values, to commit themselves with a sense of commitment towards their goals, towards their achievements, which they've always wanted to do. But it was only then that they got time to do with it. And which is again the sense of commitment towards your values and your goals is a very important aspect of overcoming your negative core beliefs. And so is another aspect where to attain mindfulness. Since there was a nationwide lockdown, people attained a sense of calmness within them. They got time to practice yoga and achieve their mindfulness, which again, as mentioned before, plays a very important role in achieving your or overcoming your negative set of core beliefs. Over to you, Riddhi ma'am.
Thank you, Ananya, and thank you, Srishti. Now, I would like to conclude by saying that you are what you think and love. So do it with purity, peace, and wisdom. Therefore, the more you think of these qualities, the more you become them, and also radiate these feelings to who all you meet. Lastly, a small story to share. This is a tale of two wolves. An old uncle and an old man is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside of me, he says to his boy. It is a terrible fight and it is between the two wolves. One is evil, anger. He's anger, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self pity, guilt, and whatnot. He continued, the other is good. He's joy, he's peace, he's love, hope, kindness, empathy, generosity, faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every person too. The grandson replies, which wolf will win? The old man simply said, the one you feed. So that's all we would like to conclude with. That you have to stop when your thoughts when your thoughts they get disturbed, they disturb you. You need to stop them there and then. You need to relax and have deep you need to have deep relaxation and think over your core beliefs again, and then go in fresh. I believe, I am grateful, I am creative, I am abundant, I am lovable, I am joyful. It's you who has to decide whether you want to be happy or whether you want to be sad, whether you want to go negative or you want to go positive. That's the bibliography, all the references, and a thank you to all of you for being such good listeners, and hope we lived up to the topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, team Hakuna Matata, for this wonderful presentation. Now, I would like to request Namita ma'am to share her views regarding the presentation and move on with the question answer round.
It brings joy, and you forced me to I feed the good wolf. So hence, I think the rest of us also learn from it. So it must have been a beautiful learning experience for all of you. I have a small question over here. You took up a very beautiful survey and you wove it very well in your presentation. So, what was the takeaway from your survey? That is in relation to the core beliefs that whatever your population of survey was or your sample size was, that what kind of core beliefs did the majority have? Find many of them. So, in totality.
Ma'am, in the majority, we received an overwhelmingly positive response. They tended to have a positive core belief. Either it was that or they were not being honest. We hope that they were honest with their answers. And as for the rest of the section, who we believe who disagreed with the ideal section of answers, we have provided a sense of all the guidelines, all forms of how they can help themselves and via therapies. So that was that. Yes. Hopefully, I've answered your question.
Is also the takeaway towards the end, what you said, the outcome of the pandemic. Maybe the response was positive because of that. That out of pandemic, we all have learned something. So it means there's for future.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely, there's hope for future. People have started becoming so self-aware. Even with this topic has actually enlightened us, and I'm very grateful for the topic, as a matter of fact, because now I can communicate this to several other people. It will help me in my future endeavors a lot. Similarly, people, not maybe not via this platform, but they are becoming self-aware. They are keen on learning why something is happening to them and how they want to overcome it, so which is a very positive outlook towards the society, I would say.
So I would like to kindly end up by appreciating the acronym that you people picked up. It was
Uh,
very innovative, and also whatever I've been seeing, the way you wove your survey into the entire presentation and into the entire set of ideologies you presented, that was done well. A very different way of taking up a presentation. Good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure for me, and what is the takeaway?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Shammi ma'am?
Yeah, sure. So it was really a very beautiful presentation, and you had, as Namita ma'am just said, woven around very well, done up so confidently, great research. The best part that I liked in the whole presentation was that normally people pick up the experiments and things from online and show how it impacts. Whereas you went into the detail, did it yourself, experienced it. And when you experience something and then put it, then there is the learning that happens. So this was the most beautiful part, and you have a lovely volunteer too. So I must congratulate the lovely volunteer, the younger one, because that's how they also start learning. So good job done, team. It was very well woven in the sense that not even a single second I could move my eyes away. It was like quickly moving around and captured every aspect. So, my one question, though there are no questions left, just my curiosity, that do you think it's the negative beliefs that are related more to women and men? I mean, what did you find it in your survey or otherwise?
Um, if any of the intern wants to answer.
Yeah.
I would just say that it is true. In fact, most of a majority, either it was because a majority of the respondents were females, or it's a generalized idea in society that yes, women do tend to have negative co-beliefs because of the way the very stringent upbringing that we have in our society. Although it is reforming, and I'm very proud of that. But somehow it is because of that you are not supposed to go out, or that you are supposed to be very careful. That sense of independent upbringing, which is not done in the early years, that sort of does affect a women in the later stages of her life, and it ultimately leads to negative co-beliefs. So yes, I would say, I again, it could be on either basis, either because the respondents were, majority of them were female, or it's a generalized idea in society. Either of them could be the reason. So that is what I believe.
Add on to this, I would like to say that going through the survey, the responses, we very well saw that most of the men, many of them, they actually responded that they also have some negative core beliefs, which are of being unimportant, or there was one with unattractiveness also. So this could be a lot because of the competition, mainly like the pandemic has affected in the positive way. It could be even for due to that it's in the negative way, that a lot of people have been unemployed. A lot of people have been probably where they were going on the growth path, suddenly that stopped. It the platform there and there it stood there. So men have equally, they have their core beliefs, yes, in our Indian society they don't express too much, and which is why probably we did not even get that much of response from the men. It's more from the women, and because we did not ask for their names, I believe we got a good response. So it affects equally, but it's just the way of expressing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do you think, like, when we do certain such kind of researches and reach out to people, it awakens them, it makes them aware of all these things, and they start working on it, do you think it will have an impact?
Absolutely, yes. Because when we give them a survey like this, they also once think that what is it, and they used to search like what is like we gave our survey what is negative core belief, and in the times of pandemic, uh, if sorry, if they will search for this topic, they will learn more. And like us, even we were affected with negative core belief, but for the 15 days we studied, we researched, and we got like our answers. Likewise, they must have got their answers.
Absolutely. So at least they get aware and start looking for it, that there is something called core belief and I must think about it. Very well done. Thank you very much. It was really fantastic being with you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We are glad we got this platform to perform, to show our little bit of whatever we have we could express. And thank you, jury, for being such good
Yeah,
listeners.
I'm sorry I had to rush out for a bit for an emergency, but I'm back now and I've been listening to the entire presentation and I'm really happy to have been a part of it. I will listen to the recording all over again though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Once again, I want to thank our jury members, mentor, and ANON team for this delightful evening and your valuable time for this wonderful session. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.